Back in 2009, the slasher genre was in a bit of a weird place. I'm deep in the remake era, and while some were decent, many felt like watered-down PG-13 cash grabs. Then a pickaxe came swinging out of the darkness. I'm talking about My Bloody Valentine 3D, a movie that didn't just remake the 1981 Canadian classic, it cranked every single dial to 11. This wasn't just another slasher, it was a gleefully brutal, unapologetically R-rated spectacle that proved the genre still had a beating, bloody heart. Today, I'm digging deep into the mines of harmony to celebrate why this film is a modern slasher masterpiece and one of the best horror remakes ever made. One of the biggest reasons My Bloody Valentine 3D stands out is its absolute, unwavering commitment to being a hard R-rated horror film. At a time when so many slashers were getting neutered for a wider audience, this movie said, "No thank you." Director Patrick Lussier understood what fans wanted: practical effects, inventive kills, and a genuine sense of danger. The film is drenched in gore, but it's not just for shock value. Each kill is crafted with a kind of brutal creativity. From a pickaxe through the jaw to a shovel decapitation, the movie pulls no punches. It feels raw, visceral, and, honestly, refreshing. It's a love letter to the 80s slashers that weren't afraid to get messy. The filmmakers weren't just trying to scare you, they were trying to deliver a full-throttle, splatter-filled experience, and they succeeded with flying colors, mostly red. This commitment to practical, gruesome effects gave the film a weight and intensity that many of its contemporaries lacked. It felt real, it felt dangerous, and it respected its audience enough to give them the unadulterated horror they came for. Now, you can't talk about this era of pop culture without mentioning the juggernaut that was the TV show Supernatural. The casting of Jensen Ackles as Tom Hanniger was a stroke of genius. At the time, Ackles was already a massive star as Dean Winchester, and bringing him into a lead horror role was a huge draw. But this wasn't just stunt casting. Ackles brings a brooding intensity and a damaged quality to Tom, a man haunted by the past and returning to the town that scarred him. He's not your typical, one-dimensional slasher protagonist. There's a genuine ambiguity to his character that keeps you guessing. Is he the hero? Is he a red herring? Is he something else entirely? Ackles plays this complexity perfectly, making Tom a compelling and unpredictable anchor for the story. He brought his built-in fan base to the theater, but he also delivered a performance that elevated the material beyond a simple slasher flick. His presence gave the film a level of star power and acting credibility that helped it connect with a much broader audience than just die-hard horror fans. Let's be honest, the late 2000s 3D boom was gimmicky, to say the least. Most movies just used it to add a little depth, but My Bloody Valentine 3D turned it into an offensive weapon. This is perhaps the best example of a film using 3D not just as a visual flair, but as an integral part of the horror experience. Every single swing of the pickaxe is aimed directly at the audience. Eyeballs, jawbones, and all sorts of debris fly out of the screen. It was aggressive, in your face, and so much fun. The filmmakers understood the schlocky, carnival-like appeal of 3D and leaned into it hard. Watching it in the theater was a communal experience of people flinching, ducking, and laughing. It wasn't trying to be subtle. It was trying to make you feel like you were right there in the mine, with a killer swinging for your head. This aggressive use of the technology made the movie an unforgettable theatrical event and is a huge reason why it's remembered so fondly. It didn't just use 3D, it weaponized it for maximum slasher entertainment. If there's one sequence that everyone remembers from this movie, it's the motel scene. This is where the film's brutality, its clever use of 3D, and its relentless pacing all converge into a perfect storm of slasher chaos. The sequence is an absolute masterclass in tension and release. It starts with the miner stalking his victims, and then it just explodes. The nudity, which feels very true to the 80s slasher formula, is immediately followed by some of the most shocking and visceral kills in the entire film. It's audacious, it's graphic, and it is completely unforgettable. The moment where the miner chases a character out onto the parking lot, fully exposed, is a moment of pure jaw-dropping audacity. It's a scene that feels dangerous and taboo, pushing the boundaries of what a mainstream studio horror film could get away with. It's not just a great scene within the movie, it's one of the most iconic and memorable set pieces in any 21st century slasher film, period. It's the blood-soaked cherry on top of this very violent cake. Beyond the gore and the gimmicks, My Bloody Valentine 3D is also a surprisingly effective whodunit unit. The original 1981 film had a mystery at its core, and the remake takes that and runs with it, adding new layers and twists. The script does an excellent job of planting red herrings and casting suspicion on multiple characters. You have Tom Hanniger, the traumatized survivor who has returned to town with a dark cloud over him. You have Axel Palmer, the sheriff who is now married to Tom's old flame, carrying his own resentments. There are other townspeople with secrets and motives. The film constantly plays with your expectations, making you question who is actually behind the mask. The final reveal is not only shocking, but also recontextualizes everything you've seen before, making a second viewing almost mandatory. This focus on a solid, engaging mystery plot elevates the film above a simple body count movie. It gives you something to invest in between the spectacular kills, keeping you hooked on a narrative level as well as a visceral one. It's a slasher with a brain, and that's a rare and beautiful thing. A great slasher needs a great setting, and this film nails the atmosphere of small-town dread. The town of Harmony doesn't feel like a generic movie set. It feels like a real, lived-in place that has been slowly decaying ever since the original mining tragedy. You can feel the economic depression, the lingering resentment, and the collective trauma that hangs over everyone like a thick layer of coal dust. The grimy aesthetic, the claustrophobic mine shafts, and the rundown storefronts all contribute to a powerful sense of place. It feels like a town that's trapped in its own past, unable to escape the shadow of Harry Warden. This oppressive atmosphere makes the killer's return feel inevitable, like a curse finally coming home to roost. The dread isn't just about a man in a mask, it's baked into the very foundations of the town itself. This makes the horror feel more grounded and pervasive, creating a world that is just as menacing as the killer who stalks it. Finally, let's talk about the man himself, the miner. In the world of slasher icons, the miner is often overlooked, but this remake gives him the respect he deserves. His design is simple, but incredibly effective. The gas mask, the helmet with the headlamp cutting through the darkness, and of course, the deadly pickaxe. He's a physical, imposing force of nature. He doesn't run. He stalks with a relentless, unstoppable purpose. The film treats him not just as a man in a costume, but as a genuine boogeyman, a local legend brought to terrifying life. The way he appears and disappears, the sheer brutality of his attacks, and the iconic sound of his breathing through the mask all combine to create a truly memorable and frightening villain. The movie understands that a slasher is only as good as its killer, and it puts the miner front and center. He's not just a threat, he's the embodiment of the town's dark history, a physical manifestation of its unresolved sins. The remake ensures that when you think of cinematic miners, you think of pure, pickaxe-wielding terror. My Bloody Valentine 3D is a perfect storm of what makes slashers great. It's got a charismatic lead, a genuinely scary and cool-looking killer, an engaging mystery, and a commitment to R-rated carnage that is both shocking and ridiculously entertaining. It took the core concept of a beloved classic and updated it for a modern audience without losing the spirit of what made the original work. It embraced the 3D gimmick and turned it into an art form of audience assault. It is, without a doubt, a high point of the horror remake boom and a modern slasher classic that still holds up as a bloody good time. So if you're ever in the mood for a film that truly digs in and delivers the goods, look no further. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the best of horror. See you next time.